Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Lee, and I work at Vermont Legal Aid in the Office of the Healthcare Advocate. Vermont Legal Aid is a nonprofit law firm that provides civil legal aid. Civil legal issues include things like housing, healthcare, disability law, and senior law. You can find more information on our joint website with Legal Services Vermont, www.vtlawhelp.org. Thank you for joining us today. Our town hall includes a guest, and you'll be able to ask questions of our guest. If you're joining us on Zoom, you can click on the Q&A button in Zoom and type your questions in. I will ask them out loud, and you will also get a written answer from our moderators. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can type questions into the Facebook Live comments section, and I will read them out loud. You'll also get a written answer on Facebook from the moderators after the town hall. If you are calling in or listening over the phone, we don't have a way for you to ask questions from the phone during the live stream, but you can always call Vermont Legal Aid at 1-800-889-2047 to speak with a Vermont Legal Aid or Legal Services Vermont attorney or paralegal for confidential help. You can also find lots of answers on our website, vtlawhelp.org. Our guest today is Alicia. Thank you for joining us. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself for our audience, please?
Good morning, Anna Lee, and thank you so much for letting me join you here today. So my name is Alicia Rodrigue. I'm the Communications Coordinator with the Office of the Healthcare Advocate. And prior to that, I worked as an advocate for 2 years. So I have a lot of experience talking with Vermonters about their health insurance options and assisting them with some of the complicated questions that come up during the open enrollment period around plan selection and eligibility for subsidy.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Office of the Healthcare Advocate does and how we can help Vermonters?
Certainly. So the Office of the Healthcare Advocate is a free resource for all Vermonters. We're a project of Vermont Legal Aid, and our team of 8 advocates assists thousands of Vermonters with eligibility and coverage questions related to Medicare, qualified health plans, and Medicaid every year. Our advocates are also experienced at untangling complicated questions about prescription drugs, insurance billing, tax questions related to health insurance, and a number of other access to care questions. If you need assistance with any of these issues, we want you to contact us.
And we have been doing these town halls so far, mostly about COVID-specific changes. This town hall, we're going to focus on the general open enrollment period for Vermont Health Connect for the coming year of 2021, which actually hasn't had much changes due to COVID. We did do a town hall previously about one of the topics we're going to talk about today, the advanced premium tax credit eligibility. That was on July 7th with one of our other advocates, Emily, and attorney Zach. So if you want a more in-depth look at that, you can go back and watch that on our Facebook. The video from July 7th is still there. Alicia, do you want to just start off by telling us a little bit about what you are hoping that we can cover today in this town hall?
Of course. So today, I hope to provide you all with consumer education on plan design and common health insurance vocabulary so that you can make informed choices about your health insurance options for 2021. We also want to spread the word about the Office of the Healthcare Advocate and let you know that we can be a resource if you encounter any difficulties signing up for health insurance during the open enrollment period, or if you have other health insurance related questions.
Great. Let's start off by just talking a little bit about what the Vermont Health Connect open enrollment period is, please.
Yeah, certainly. So the Vermont Health Connect open enrollment period is from November 1st to December 15th. You'll likely hear me saying that date a lot during this presentation. And during the open enrollment period, Vermonters can sign up for health insurance or switch plans for 2021. And it's important for consumers to consider their health insurance options during this time because they may not have the option to sign up for health insurance or switch to more affordable coverage outside of this period.
Okay, so those important dates that we're going to say a lot is November 1st to December 15th. Who can sign up for health insurance during that time?
Great. So Vermont residents who have a lawful immigration status are eligible to sign up with Vermont Health Connect during the open enrollment period.
Okay. And who should not sign up for health insurance with Vermont Health Connect during this time?
Yeah, so folks who should not be signing up for health insurance with Health Connect are typically people who have other types of health insurance. So those may be people who are currently on Medicaid or currently enrolled in Medicare. And I'd also like to highlight that this is not the open enrollment period for your employer-sponsored insurance. If you do have questions about that open enrollment period, I highly recommend you talk with your HR department. And again, one reason why our office is really passionate about spreading the word about this open enrollment period is that oftentimes for many people, you cannot sign up for a qualified health plan with Vermont Health Connect outside of the open enrollment period without something called a special enrollment period. And just to go into that a little bit further, a special enrollment period is a time outside of the annual open enrollment period when you can sign up for health insurance. You qualify for a special enrollment period when you've had a certain type of life event. The main one is really losing a type of health insurance, such as if you lost your employer-sponsored insurance. However, other qualifying events include moving, having a baby, or adopting a child, just to name a few. And that special enrollment period lasts for 60 days. So you can take advantage of that special enrollment period window leading up to or following one of these events, and you'll be able to enroll in coverage through Vermont Health Connect. And again, this window is very important because if you miss your special enrollment period, you may have to wait until the open enrollment period to apply for coverage.
Okay, so there's two times when you can sign up for health insurance with Vermont Health Connect. One of them is coming right up during that open enrollment period we're going to talk about today, November 1st to December 15th. And if you miss that, you have to wait until you have one of those special life events where you can sign up for health insurance outside of the open enrollment period. So, we want to talk about some tips to help choose a plan today, but I know health insurance can be really complicated and really confusing. So, can you walk us through just some basic terms that we use when we talk about health insurance first?
Of course, I would love to. So there are a few common health insurance terms that can help people determine what plan is right for them. And these terms are really related to health insurance costs. So there are two types of health insurance costs that I want to talk about. The first is referred to as a premium. So a premium is the monthly cost that a person has to pay to maintain their healthcare coverage. And this is different from the next type of healthcare costs that I want to outline, which are cost sharing charges. So these cost sharing charges, unlike your monthly premium, are charges that you would have to pay when you go and access care. And the first definition that I think is really important and folks are likely more familiar with is something called a deductible. So this is the amount that you would pay for covered healthcare services before your insurance plan starts to pay. And the next important definition that I want to outline here is something called a copayment or copayments. So this is a dollar amount for an item or service that you have to pay when you go up to pick a prescription medication up or access care. And the next one, it sounds very similar to copayments, but the next definition is referred to as coinsurance. And unlike copayments, coinsurance is a percentage of the cost for an item or a service that you must pay. And this one can be a little confusing for some folks, so I do just briefly want to give an example. So let's say your health insurance plan's allowed amount for an office visit is $100, and your coinsurance charge for that visit is 20%. You pay 20% of that $100. So that would mean in this example, your coinsurance charge would be $20. And the last definition that I'm going to talk about in this section is something referred to as a maximum out-of-pocket limit. And this limit is the most that you have to pay for covered services in a plan year. So after you spend a certain amount on your deductible, co-payments, coinsurance for in-network care and services, your health plan should pick up the rest of the cost of your covered benefits.
Okay, so when we talk about health insurance, there's a few things that you would be paying out of pocket for. Your premium is what you pay just to have the health insurance, and you always pay that every month, regardless of how much you use the insurance. But those other terms we talked about, such as the co-payments and the co-insurance, those refer to how much you actually have to pay when you go use the insurance at your pharmacy or your doctor. And the deductible and the maximum out of pocket talk about how much of those out of pocket costs you're going to have to spend for each plan. Now that we've covered a little bit about health insurance to start off with, can we talk a little bit about what Vermont Health Connect is and what Vermonters should know about it first?
Of course. So Vermont Health Connect is a state-based marketplace that was established as a result of the Affordable Care Act. In Vermont, true carriers sell insurance on the exchange, and those carriers are Blue Cross Blue Shield of Vermont and NVP. And all of the plans that are sold through the exchange are compliant with the standards that are set forth by the Affordable Care Act and include coverage for what are considered the same 10 essential health benefits.
Okay, so all of the plans available through Vermont Health Connect, regardless if it's Blue Cross Blue Shield or MVP providing that plan, they're going to cover the same services, the same kinds of care. It's just a question of, for each plan, how much you're going to pay for the care and how much the insurance will pay. Now, for people who are maybe thinking about getting Vermont Health Connect coverage for the first time and have never had to go through it before, is there anything special about the kinds of coverage options through Vermont Health Connect that they may not have seen before with something like an employer insurance?
Yeah, certainly. So there are some unique characteristics to the way that plans are categorized in the marketplace. And just to say this again, all plans cover the same healthcare services. The way that they differ is how your insurance company and you split the cost when you need care. And the best way to understand how this cost sharing differs between plans is by the metal level that they're assigned. And there are 4 different types of metal levels that are associated with plans on the exchange. Those metal levels are bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And again, metal level categories are based on how you and your insurance company split your healthcare costs. They don't have anything to do with the quality of the plan.
Okay, so these are different metal levels. They don't have anything to do with how much the plan covers in terms of only one plan covers your doctor's office. That's only one plan covers a hospital. It's not like that. It's just about how you share the cost with the insurance company.
Exactly, yes. And just to go into this a little bit further, there are some important distinctions about metal levels and what they look like and what that means for your health insurance coverage. And the first metal level that I just want to touch on a little bit are bronze plans. So these plans have the lowest monthly premium. However, they have the highest cost when you need to access care because they have the highest deductible amount. So oftentimes when I'm talking to Vermonters about plan selection, I typically recommend these type of plans to them if they want a low cost way to protect themselves from a worst case scenario medical situation, like a serious illness or an injury. And the next metal level that I want to go into a little bit further are silver plans. So these typically have a moderate monthly premium. Silver deductibles are usually lower than bronze plans. And if you qualify for cost sharing reduction, sometimes referred to as extra savings, you need to enroll in a silver plan to take advantage of this benefit. And we're going to go into this and kind of get an understanding of how that factors into plan selection a little bit later on in the presentation. So just to summarize again, these silver plans can be a good choice for you if you qualify for specific types of cost sharing reduction.
All right, so those are the bronze and the silver plans. What about the gold and the platinum plans? What's the difference between those?
Yeah, certainly. So to start with gold plans, they have a higher monthly premium. However, they have a lower deductible. That deductible is typically lower than those silver and bronze plans. And that lower deductible means that when you actually go and access care, you can be spending less money out of pocket. So gold plans can be a good choice for you if you're willing to pay a little bit more each month so that you can have more covered when you actually go and access care. So if you're somebody who has high healthcare needs, I often recommend these type of plans. And the last metal level that I'm going to talk about today are platinum level plans. So these plans have the highest monthly premiums and the lowest deductibles. And again, if this is something that is affordable for you, if you can afford to pay a higher monthly amount out of pocket for that premium, and you're somebody who goes and gets a lot of healthcare services, this plan may offer you the best value.
Okay, so there's a few different options, and I know that across all of those options, health insurance can be really expensive, even if you're getting the lowest cost, that bronze plan option. Is there any assistance that's available for Vermonters who are looking to save some money on how much they have to spend for those premiums, at least?
Yeah, certainly. So I have a lot of difficult conversations with Vermonters around affordability in relation to health insurance pretty consistently. But there is some assistance available to you depending on your household income and household size. And the first type of assistance that I want to touch on today is something called advanced premium tax credit. So, as the name suggests, this is a tax credit that you can take advantage of to lower your monthly health insurance premiums. When you apply for coverage with Vermont Health Connect, you give them an estimate of your expected income for the year. If you qualify for premium tax credit based on that estimate, you can use any amount of the tax credit that you're awarded in advance to lower your monthly premiums. And if you specifically have eligibility questions related to advanced premium tax credit, I would refer you back to that town hall that our office did in July, or reach out to our office and we're glad to be a resource to you.
And again, that town hall recording up on our Facebook page with more information about the advanced premium tax credit is from July 7th. And that was with Emily and Zach from the Office of the Healthcare Advocate again. And you had also mentioned that sometimes people can qualify for cost sharing reductions for buying a silver plan. I know that's a little complicated and we don't want to get too in the weeds, but can you just give us a little bit more information about what those cost sharing reductions are?
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to get into that a little bit further. So, cost sharing reduction is a discount that lowers the amount that you have to pay for your deductible, co-payments, and co-insurance. And if you qualify, as I said before, you must enroll in a silver plan to take advantage of this benefit.
Okay, so there's two types of assistance people might be able to get from Vermont Health Connect for buying health insurance. The advanced premium tax credit helps with the premiums that you pay. And sometimes people on top of that can also qualify for cost sharing reductions, which are built in discounts to those silver plans. If people are interested in seeing if they qualify for those types of assistance, how can they check?
Yeah, of course. So the first step in this process for signing up for health insurance and just getting an estimate on your eligibility for subsidy would be to fill out an application for health insurance with Vermont Health Connect. And you can do that either online or over the phone. You can also print a paper copy and mail it in, but it's likely that it will take longer to process if you use this system. And once that has been submitted, Vermont Health Connect is going to give you a determination for your eligibility for subsidy. So your eligibility for advanced premium tax credit and cost sharing reduction. And certainly you can also access this information online or over the phone if you do have any questions about what amount for either benefit you're eligible for. And something else I just wanted to take a bit of time to highlight is that for Vermonters already enrolled in coverage for 2020, you will automatically be enrolled in your same plan for 2021 unless you take action to change plans during the open enrollment period. So it's important that you use the open enrollment period as an opportunity to examine how your coverage will change for 2021 and if this is still the right plan for you. And the last point that I'm always just going to hammer home, because I know this comes up a lot in our office when we're advising people, is that, again, if you do intend to sign up for health insurance for 2021, you need to officially select a plan and then report that plan selection to Vermont Health Connect by the end of the open enrollment period deadline, which is December 15th. So again, make sure to report any selection that you have by the end of the open enrollment period.
Okay, so if you are applying for Vermont Health Connect coverage for the first time, what you need to do is submit an application. Vermont Health Connect will figure out if you're eligible for subsidy and if cost sharing reductions can apply to you as well. And you also need to actually tell them what plan you want to enroll in once they tell you how much subsidy you can get. If you're already enrolled in Vermont Health Connect coverage, you can also use this opportunity to check out that plan, make sure it's still going to be a good plan for you for next year, because sometimes they can change or your situation may have changed and you want better coverage. And either way, if you want to sign up, take action to change your plan for 2021, you have to tell Vermont Health Connect what you want to do by December 15th, or you're locked into the plan for the coming year. Now, are there tools that are available with Vermont Health Connect if people aren't ready to actually fill out the application yet? They just want to look through and see what their options are?
Yeah, certainly. So Vermont Health Connect does have a fairly accessible tool that I point out and recommend to a lot of folks who are kind of evaluating their options. And this tool is referred to as Vermont Health Connect's plan selection tool. So what you would do is you would visit the Vermont Health Connect website, and then you would just select that plan selection tool. And what it's going to prompt you to do is input information about your age, household income, and household size. And it's going to generate a subsidy eligibility for you. So again, it's going to give you an estimate on what your advanced premium tax credits may be and your cost sharing reduction may be. I do want to emphasize that this is an official determination. It's just an estimate based on the numbers that you had provided with them. However, I do recommend using the system because it can be really, really helpful as folks try to navigate their options. So after you've input all of that information and gotten that estimate for your subsidy eligibility, what you'll do is you'll be brought up to a menu that have all the plans that are available through the exchange. And I highly recommend that people just, look through some of these options. And typically I recommend that folks narrow down one or two, or I apologize, 2 to 3 plans that may be affordable for them. And when they've kind of narrowed down their options, I then highly recommend that they look a little bit further, and this will be available through that plan selection tool, and take a look at a document called a summary of benefits, because that's going to give you a really in-depth understanding of what some of your cost sharing amounts are going to be for an individual plan. And as we'd mentioned a little bit before, those are just really important when we talk about accessing your healthcare and some of your cost sharing charges.
Okay, so if you're thinking about Vermont Health Connect for 2021, but you're not sure if you actually want to go through the hassle of filling out an application, a place to start is that plan selection tool on the Vermont Health Connect website, where you don't have to put in any personal information or fill out an application. You can just give some information about your household and income, and it will give you an estimate of the help that you could be eligible for, how much plans could cost. Once you have that estimate from the plan selection tool, you can take a look at the summary of benefits for some of the plans that you might be interested in. And there'll be more information about the things like the deductible and the cost sharing that we talked about earlier. Then, if you take all that information in and decide you want to enroll, you can fill out the formal application with Vermont Health Connect at that point and let them know what plan you want. Is there anything special that people should know about using that plan selection tool or the summary of benefits that might be a little bit complicated or confusing?
Certainly. So there's one kind of final plan selection tip that I often like to talk about with people, and it's specifically in relation to some of the cost sharing reduction eligibility that we'd mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation. So earlier we discussed a benefit called cost sharing reduction and emphasized that you need to enroll in a silver plan to take advantage of the extra savings that are available through this benefit. However, folks that are eligible for very little cost sharing reduction may find that a gold or bronze plan offers them a better value than a silver plan with that cost sharing reduction applied. And I know this is a little bit confusing. These are often, longer conversations that I have with clients when I'm trying to talk them through this process. But for example, the monthly premiums for gold plans may be closer to those of silver plans, but gold plans often have a lower out-of-pocket cost when you need to access care with a provider. So in this example, a gold plan may be a better choice for somebody who has high healthcare needs and goes to the doctors very frequently than enrolling in that silver plan with that cost sharing reduction, simply because they may not be getting a lot of value out of that silver plan in conjunction with that cost sharing reduction. And yeah.
Okay, so if people are filling out that plan selection tool and a little message comes up that says that they're eligible for cost sharing reductions at a certain level, they might actually find that even if they can get those cost sharing reductions in a silver plan, they might want either a bronze plan or a gold plan. And again, that can be a complicated situation. And as Alicia said, it's not the same for everyone. It depends a lot on your individual needs. So if you want to know more about your options in that situation, you can always get in touch with our office. Our Office of the Healthcare Advocate number is 1 800 917 7787. And we can walk anyone through this process because it can get a little complicated.
Mhm. And one of the last plan selection points that I kind of just wanted to highlight is to say that I really sympathize with Vermonters that are trying to go through this process. Our health insurance system is really complicated, and making a clear choice in this circumstance is never really straightforward. So when I talk to clients during the open enrollment period, I always tell them to use the information that I've just shared with you all as a foundation to build off of during this process. You should use the plan selection tool to evaluate your options. And I also want to just highlight a few other things that I, especially for this open enrollment period, would recommend to people. And the first tip that I always highlight in the plan selection process is that you need to select a plan that works for your monthly budget and is accessible for your predictable healthcare needs. Again, I always recommend that people think about finding a premium that's affordable for them and considering those metal levels and some of the cost sharing associated with going to a provider when you actually need care. I also want you to confirm that you've reported your income accurately or as accurately as you possibly can for 2021, simply because that's what your subsidy eligibility is based on. And as we discussed before, I want you to look at your cost sharing reduction eligibility and think about how that's going to impact your plan selection.
Okay, so those are some tips that people can follow when they're thinking about what plan they are going to sign up for 2021. What should people who are already enrolled in Vermont Health Connect coverage for 2020 and are thinking about their options for the coming year, what do they need to do, if anything, to make sure that they're in the best situation for the coming year?
Certainly. Again, I just want to mention that folks who do not take action to change plans during the open enrollment period will be automatically enrolled in that same plan for 2021. So in preparation for that, I just want people to take a look at how much is their premium going to increase on their current plan for 2021. I don't want that to be a surprise for you when 2021 rolls around in January. I don't want you to get any surprises about your health insurance costs. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to utilize that summary of benefits document that I'd mentioned before. And I want you to see if there had been any changes to cost sharing on your plan as well. Because again, that's an important factor to take into consideration when we think about health insurance affordability. I also want you to look and see if you're caught up on your 2020 health insurance premiums. If you're not, and you do intend to stay enrolled in the same plan with Vermont Health Connect for 2021, there can be some grace period implications for that. And if you do have questions related to past due premiums, please contact our office. And again, I tell people this all the time, but the last thing that I really want you to consider is if you've reported your income accurately for 2021. And I think that all of these tips are really play an important role into figuring out what health insurance plan is the best option for you in this upcoming year.
All right, so lots of things people should take into consideration. You did mention a little bit about the grace period with Vermont Health Connect. Do you mind just clarifying what that is and how it works for the premiums with Vermont Health Connect?
Of course, I would be happy to talk a little bit about this. So if you are late in a premium for Vermont Health Connect, meaning if you make that premium payment outside of the last day of a month, you go into something called a grace period. And a grace period is a 90-day period that you will have to pay for all of your past due premiums, in addition to an additional advanced premium for your following health insurance coverage for the next month. So again, in order to get out of those grace periods and avoid termination of coverage, you need to be caught up on all of your past due premiums, in addition to paying your next premium in advance to get out of that grace period and avoid termination for that benefit.
Okay, so the grace period is what you get into if your premium is even a day late from when it's due. Is that a rolling grace period where if you pay just a little bit, you can still be in a grace period, but start getting caught up? Or is there a really hard, fast deadline on getting your premiums caught up?
No, it's a very hard deadline. You need to be caught up on all of your past due premiums and pay that additional premium for your next month's coverage in advance to get out of that grace period.
Okay, so if people have already been in a grace period for part of 2020 in these next coming months as we get closer to the end of the year, does that grace period reset when we hit January of 2021, or does it carry over into the next year?
So if you plan to stay enrolled in the same plan for 2021, that grace period will carry over. If you select a new plan for 2021, that grace period will not be applied to your new plan.
Okay, so that's why if people are planning to stick with the same plan for the next coming year of 2021, it's really important to make sure that they are caught up on their premiums for this year, 2020, or they could end up in a situation where their coverage is turned off early in 2021 and people can get locked out until that open enrollment period. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, unless they have a special enrollment period qualifying event that they would allow them to sign up outside of that open enrollment period.
Okay. And one other thing I wanted to ask you about was I know health insurance can be really expensive, even with the subsidy and the cost sharing reductions from Vermont Health Connect. If people are using that plan selection tool or have already enrolled with Vermont Health Connect and are looking at the numbers for next year and just don't think they can afford to buy the health insurance, is there any requirement that they actually keep that health insurance for a whole calendar year?
So there is no longer a requirement or tax penalty associated with not having health insurance. So the individual mandate was taken away for tax year 2019. And that means that there's no longer an individual shared responsibility penalty that folks can be charged at tax time for not having health insurance.
Okay, so if you decide you just can't do the health insurance this year, there's no tax penalty that you'd have to worry about for the coming year. Now, we talked a lot about the process that people can go through to sign up for Vermont Health Connect, and there's a lot of things to keep in mind. Can we just walk through that process, start to finish, of how people actually sign up for Vermont Health Connect or change their plan so that everyone's on the same page as we start to wrap up here?
Of course. So the first thing that I'm going to say yet again is to highlight the dates for the open enrollment period. So the open enrollment period again takes place from November 1st to December 15th. And the first step, if you're new and haven't been enrolled in Vermont Health Connect insurance for this past year, 2020, the first thing that you need to do is fill out an application with Vermont Health Connect. And you can do that either online, over the phone, or with a paper application. So signing up for health insurance for the first time through Vermont Health Connect, or if you'd like to switch plans for 2021, you need to make sure to report that change in plan selection by the end of the open enrollment period, so by December 15th. Again, I don't want you to put all this effort into plan selection and then miss making that change during the open enrollment period. And if you're enrolling in a new plan, so for example, if you change plans during the open enrollment period, or if Vermont Health Connect health insurance is new to you, you need to make your premium payment within 21 days to effectuate coverage. So in order to make sure that you activate your health insurance coverage, you need to make sure to make that payment. And one of the other things I just want to highlight is that I sympathize with folks who are trying to make choices during this process. So please contact the Office of the Healthcare Advocate if you've had a difficult time communicating with Vermont Health Connect or have any questions related to your subsidy eligibility.
Okay, and our 1-800 number for the Office of the Healthcare Advocate is 1-800-917-7787. And you can give us a call to speak with an advocate about your situation for open enrollment if you're having any questions or any issues that come up with Vermont Health Connect. we have hit just about the half hour mark here in our presentation. So we want to take some time to go through some more specific questions that people might have about their situation when they're thinking about their options for 2021. The first thing that I want to ask you, Alicia, is filling out the application for Vermont Health Connect the same thing as actually enrolling in a health insurance plan for 2021?
No, filling out the application and enrolling in a plan are not the same. So filling out an application certainly is a really important part of enrolling in a plan. That is, filling out an application is going to give Vermont Health Connect your name, your household income, your household size, and they use all of that information to estimate your eligibility for subsidy. But in order for you to actually sign up for health insurance, you need to select a plan, report that to Vermont Health Connect, and make a premium payment to effectuate that coverage for 2021. So those are all really important steps that you need to take into consideration in this process.
Okay, so this is a multi-step process, filling out the application, selecting your plan, and actually letting Vermont Health Connect know what plan you want. And you have to do all of those things before the open enrollment period is over. So the last day that open enrollment period runs is December 15th. And you're going to be able to start making those changes this coming week, November 1st. And again, you have until December 15th to do that. Now, I know that a lot of people have really different income situations this year and for the rest of 2021 because of COVID. Things have changed a lot. What would people need to do if they're concerned that Vermont Health Connect doesn't have accurate information for them anymore? Maybe they've lost a job or their business isn't doing as well because of COVID. Can they update that with Vermont Health Connect?
Yeah, certainly. And I would highly recommend you update your income with Vermont Health Connect if you have had a change in income. So Vermont Health Connect doesn't need any sort of official documentation when you report a change in income. What you need to do is just be really thoughtful and considerate and try to most accurately report your income to them. And what they'll do when you do make that change is that will factor into your eligibility for subsidy. So again, you don't need any official documentation to report a change in income to Vermont Health Connect. But I do recommend you be really proactive about this process because your subsidy eligibility may be impacted by that change, and that may factor into the plan selection that you want to make during the open enrollment period.
Okay, so it's all right if you don't have any kind of paycheck or tax return that says what your 2021 income is going to be if it's looked different than what your past year did. You just need to give Vermont Health Connect an accurate estimate of what you think that your income is going to look like for 2021, and they can use your estimate when they're figuring out what you'd be eligible for. Okay. And what would happen to folks if they sign up for Vermont Health Connect and it turns out that they aren't going to be able to afford their premium? Maybe again because of COVID, people are losing their income, losing their jobs. Is there a way that people are locked into the same health insurance plan or the same premium price for the whole year, even if they have a change like that?
Mhm. So if you have a change in income and you have a change in eligibility for cost sharing reduction, that does sometimes make you eligible for a special enrollment period to sign up for a different plan. Again, that's a really specific circumstance and a really specific special enrollment period. So I would highly recommend that you contact our office if you've had any significant changes of income and think you may be eligible for that special enrollment period. And one thing that I would like to say is that certainly if you do have a change in income mid-year, I always encourage people to report that because again, that may factor into your subsidy eligibility. And again, you may be eligible for a special enrollment period depending on how much that income has changed.
Okay, so even if you sign up during open enrollment right now with your estimate of what your 2021 income is going to be, but something changes once we're into 2021, you should call Vermont Health Connect and let them know if you are not going to be able to, if your income you think is going to be different than what you predicted it would be. And sometimes you might be able to get a cheaper premium or a different health insurance option depending on if that income change it makes you eligible for something different. But again, it's a specific situation, and you can always call our office at 1-800-917-7787 for help if you're running into that. My other question that I have for you that might be coming up a little bit more during this open enrollment period than it usually does is if people were eligible for Medicaid earlier this past year because of COVID and losing their income or job that way, would they need to take any action during the open enrollment period now if they're already enrolled in Medicaid currently?
If you are already enrolled in Medicaid, you should not take any action during the open enrollment period. Currently, because of the state of emergency, Vermont Health Connect is not closing anybody's Medicaid coverage right now. So eventually, what may happen when the state of emergency has been lifted, they will work to start to close people or send out reviews for folks who may need to report an income change during that process. And if you are over income from Medicaid, what will happen is when that benefit closes at the end of that month, you're eligible for something called a special enrollment period to sign up for health insurance outside of this open enrollment period. So you would have a special enrollment period because of that loss of minimal essential coverage.
Okay, so if you're already on Medicaid right now, you don't need to take any action during open enrollment period to get signed up for new coverage because you have the Medicaid. If that changes at any point during 2021, you can get a special enrollment period to sign up when the Medicaid closes. Now, I know you said earlier that the open enrollment period for Vermont Health Connect is not going to be the same dates as people's employers' open enrollment period because employers get to make their own open enrollment dates.
Mm-hmm.
But if people have insurance through their employer, could they use the Vermont Health Connect open enrollment period to sign up for coverage there instead?
So they certainly, if they meet the standards of being Vermont residents and also meet the standards of having a lawful immigration status, they certainly are eligible to sign up for health insurance. However, I do not know a lot of folks that take advantage of that system because if you have what's considered an affordable offer of health insurance from your employer, you're not eligible to receive subsidies from Vermont Health Connect to help you pay for the cost associated with your health insurance. And paying all of those health insurance premiums and cost sharing yourself are typically much more expensive than your employer sponsored plans. And again, if you do have any question about the affordability of your employer sponsored insurance, I would highly recommend using Vermont Health Connect's affordability calculator. And we can also link to that in our notes because that may be a mechanism if your health insurance is considered unaffordable to get advanced premium tax credits or other subsidy that may be available on the exchange.
Okay, so technically, if you have an offer of employer insurance, you still could sign up for Vermont Health Connect, but it might not be the most affordable choice because if you have employer insurance that meets certain standards that the federal government sets, then you aren't able to get any of that assistance to pay for insurance through Vermont Health Connect, and it could be really expensive, much more so than the plan your employer offers. But there can be some exceptions. So there's a tool on the Vermont Health Connect website that can help you figure out if your employer insurance doesn't meet those standards, and you could use the Vermont Health Connect assistance instead. And if that's a situation that can get really complicated and confusing, can people call our office for help with that?
Of course they can.
Okay, and our number again is 1-800-917-7787. I also just want to run through some of the contact information that you may need if you are looking to get set up with Vermont Health Connect. The customer service number to apply over the phone or ask questions of Vermont Health Connect is 855-899-9600. And if you want to look at that plan selection tool or complete an application on the Vermont Health Connect online portal, that is at vermonthealthconnect.gov. And if people have any questions or need help with doing their open enrollment, they can find more information on the website for Vermont Legal Aid, the Office of the Healthcare Advocate sections. And our website is vtlawhelp.org. If you want to give us a call, our number for the Office of the Healthcare Advocate, one more time, is 1-800-917-7787. Now, Alicia, when you have worked with folks during the open enrollment period in the past, is it easiest if they have already talked to Vermont Health Connect to get an idea of what they're eligible for, or should they give us a call first?
So I highly recommend that folks go through the steps of filling out that application, getting that subsidy eligibility determination, and taking a look at that Vermont Health Connect plan selection tool. And if there are any outstanding questions or concerns, or you don't think that the subsidy eligibility that you had gotten is actually accurate, that is the time that I recommend you reach out to our office and see if we have any further advice on the situation.
Okay, so it makes the most sense to at least try and look at your options through Vermont Health Connect. Either start with filling out that plan selection tool or going through the application process with Vermont Health Connect. And if you have any questions or issues, once you have an idea of what Vermont Health Connect thinks your situation is, maybe you're not sure if it's right or you need some help with plan selection, that's when you should give us a call for any questions or issues that come up. And again, I'll just run through those phone numbers one more time. The Vermont Health Connect number, if you want to apply over the phone or have any questions about your account there, is 855-899-9600. And if you want to give the Office of the Healthcare Advocate a call, our 1-800 number is 1-800-917-7787. It looks like we don't have any new audience questions coming in. So I want to say thank you so much to Alicia for spending your time with us this morning to go through all of that complicated stuff about health insurance with us. And thank you to all of us who have joined us today. Again, if you have any questions, you can find more information on our website, vtlawhelp.org, or call the 1-800 number to get to the Office of the Healthcare Advocate directly, 1-800-917-7787. Thanks so much and hope everyone stays safe and has a great rest of the day out there.